Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the West Palm Beach City Commission. The date is Monday, June 2nd, 2023, and the time is 5 p.m. We will start this meeting off, as we do all of our meetings, with a moment of silence. Madam President, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. We'll read out the rules of civility and decorum that govern this body. Officials shall be recognized by the chair and shall not interrupt the speaker. Public comment shall be addressed to the City Commission as a whole and not to any individual in the dais or in the audience. Displays of anger, rudeness, ridicule, impatience, lack of respect, and personal attacks are strictly prohibited. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, and similar demonstrations should not be permitted. Please govern yourselves accordingly, as offenders may be removed from the meeting. Also, to speak to the commission, you should file a written request, and that comment card shall be completed totally with the agenda item upon which you want to speak, and it shall include the person's full name and address. And if it's not completed properly, the person will not be recognized. All right, we do have a proclamation, and that proclamation will proclaim June 2023 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community is comprised of people from all walks of life who are active participants in our city and local economy. State and federal laws do not provide protections to individuals facing discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression, which leaves unfulfilled the promise of true equality for many Americans. The City of West Palm Beach prides itself in being a community of opportunity for all, whereby anyone can realize their dreams in our city. The City of West Palm Beach recognizes the worth of everyone in our city and values diversity in race, culture, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression in our city, and is committed to protecting the dignity of everyone in our city. Pride Month is celebrated every June to coincide with the Stonewall riots of June 28, 1969 in New York City, which inspired the movement toward equal rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. In 2018, the City of West Palm Beach adopted an LGBTQ plus inclusive resolution, reaffirming its commitment to address and eliminate bullying at city facilities and in city programs. In 2018, the City of West Palm Beach, by unanimous vote of the City Commission, became the 5th city in our nation to fly the Pride flag over City Hall year-round. The citizens of West Palm Beach voted overwhelmingly to retain in its entirety a human rights ordinance affirming the city as a progressive city in which to live and work. Now, therefore, I, Keith A. James, Mayor of the City of West Palm Beach, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month. Here tonight to accept the proclamation is Melissa Anderson, Senior Assistant Attorney, and Michael Reardon, Director of Media and Communications for Compass LGBTQ plus Community Center. I'm also pleased to announce the appointment of Melissa Anderson as the volunteer LGBTQ plus liaison for my office. In this role, Ms. Anderson will serve as a resource in advocating for LGBTQ plus issues and concerns and in promoting diversity, inclusion, and equality in West Palm Beach. Our city is at the forefront of LGBTQ plus equality and inclusion in the state of Florida. I'm quite confident Melissa will do great things in this role for our city and the entire LGBTQ plus community. I would also like to remind everyone that today is June 12th and the 7th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre, when a mass shooting and terrorist attack took place at a gay nightclub in Orlando. 49 people were killed and 53 people were wounded, mostly from the LGBTQ plus Latino community. At the time, it was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Please keep in mind and take a moment to remember all those who lost their lives. And I'll come down and present the proclamation.
There's more people from Compass who can if that's okay. So this is Raymond, this is Julie, here's the mayor.
Where do you want me?
Where do you?
Right in the middle, sir. Right in
You can present it to Julie. She's our CEO. She's right here.
All right.
Nice to meet you. It's the only thing that's very straight in this besides the mayor, of course.
You may have lose my wife.
They're good at their job.
They are. Somebody going to say something?
Yes, Michael is.
No, you please feel free.
All
Okay.
right.
Oh, hello.
More than one can speak.
That's very nice. Thank you. Mayor James, the commissioners, thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here. Standing with Julie Seaver, our CEO, and Raymond Cortez, the Compass Community Center Health Services Director, and I'm the Director of Media and Communications for Compass LGBTQ Community Center, which is the only LGBTQ community center in Palm Beach County. Mayor James, as you mentioned, today is the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre. It is a very somber day for us, and it's an appropriate day to have a proclamation like this read. Pride Month is a celebration, but it didn't start as a celebration, it started as a fight. And if you think that these proclamations get read and they go into the wherever, you're wrong. They mean something to people. And what this proclamation says is that West Palm Beach is a safe place for all, especially in a time where there are so many people out there who are so frightened over what is coming and what is happening in our state, in our country. So this action and this recognition towards the community is not a recognition of just LGBTQ people. It's a recognition for all freedom-loving Americans. Thank you so much for doing this today and for proclaiming June 2023 Pride Month in the city of West Palm Beach. You've done a very amazing thing today. Thank you.
Julie, do you want to say anything?
And I just want to say, as your employee, thank you so much for appointing me and recognizing the value of the LGBTQ plus community. It's important, so thank you very much.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. Julie, no words?
I don't think I could have said anything any better and added anything to that. Thank you all
Well,
for
congratulations.
supporting our community.
All right, we will move now to item 7.1, which is a presentation from the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First, I'd just like to say on a personal level, getting my tweezers confiscated when I walked in was a little excessive. At any rate, my name is Gina Levesque. I am the Intake and Compliance Manager for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics, and I'm here today to speak to you about the Commission on Ethics. Our goal is ethics and to enhance the public's trust in government. In 2010, the Commission on Ethics was established as a result of a grand jury recommendation from 2009. I've been with the office since inception. In fact, I had a 13-year anniversary a couple of days ago. We were created to provide oversight, transparency, and accountability for over 12,000 elected officials, public employees, and advisory board members in the county. We also have jurisdiction over lobbyists, principals and employers of lobbyists, and vendors. Our commission is independent of any county or municipal government, and our commission is made up of 5 volunteer members who are appointed by different independent groups throughout the county. As you are aware, county government and every municipality in the county is subject to the ethics ordinances. The Code of Ethics is a 12-page document that creates a backstop to enhance public trust by ensuring that public officials and employees conduct themselves independently and impartially and do not use their offices for private gain. The key to a successful ethics program is education and prevention. Ongoing training, advisory opinions, and the establishment of a culture of ethics is our goal. The ethics programs are simply designed to further the public's trust in government. The availability of our staff to train and answer questions through our advisory opinions may also prevent ethical misconduct from becoming criminal misconduct. We currently have 523 advisory opinions on our website and available to research and use for your information. While the Commission has statutory authority as a quasi-judicial code enforcement board to issue letters of reprimand, letters of recommendation, and even fines up to $500 per violation, our goal is to educate those under our jurisdiction to prevent violations before they occur. All of our advisory opinions, gift forms, voting conflict forms, and outside employment forms, as well as complaints, are on our website under the Databases tab. In closing, you all are doing a great job. You're doing great work here. And in doing so, please remember your solemn duty to consider the ethics of your actions. Ask first and act later. If anyone would like to speak with someone from our office for any reason, we are always here to help. You can call us at 561-355-1915. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a receive and file, item 8.1, submittal of the following two reports from the Internal Auditor's Office. One, post-audit report of Parks and Recreation, PAR 2302, and two, post-audit report of Finance, Cash, Banking, and Investments, PAR 2303. Receive and file those. We do have a card from Sandy Makovich on this item.
Sandy Makovich, West Palm Beach, Florida. I attended the Internal Auditors meeting last month. And I'm going to try to stay calm when I'm talking to you now, because I get very upset at the meeting. The job of the Internal Auditor, by the way, it falls under the city commissioners. The city commissioners are the boss of the internal auditor. You all know that, I'm hoping. James and Johnson have nothing to do with it, or they shouldn't. The job of the internal auditor is to audit every department in the city of West Palm Beach. If they find an error, it's their job to bring it to the city, you people. They show you a problem, now you know you got a problem, fix it. That's your job. Fix the problem the internal auditors find. At the May meeting, the folder was very thin. I mean, it's usually like this. And I sit in the Flagler room. I walked in, very nice gentleman there, but I missed the girl that usually greets me and gives me the folder. So I says to the guy, where's, I can't think of her name. Oh, she resigned. I said, resigned? She left? Okay. He was very good, helped me through everything. And when it came to questions and answers, I asked Miss Mahasa, how many people do you have working for you? How many people are in the audit department? She said 2. I said, oh Christ, I'm really going deaf. How many? She said 2. 2 auditors, her and this young man that was helping me, to audit the entire city of West Palm Beach. She's supposed to have 5 or 6. She's had 3 for years, and then this girl left. You have commissioners put pressure on James and Johnson. Get the money in the budget to hire auditors. because it's a runaway freight train. You don't know what the hell's wrong with the city. Demand that they hire city internal auditors. It's needed. Ms. Johnson, you got to put the money in the budget. James, the one we had really good, Isabel Isaacs, as a commissioner, you forced her out. She was the last good one we had. She was good for years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item 9.1.
Mayor, if I could,
Oh,
just
yes.
enter
Okay.
into the record that 2 additional positions were approved for the Internal Audit Office. In last year's budget, it brought the total staffing from 5 to 7, like every other operations within the city. There are challenges with hiring, retaining, and recruiting staff, but 7 positions, that's the highest level of staffing that operation has had in a very long time.
So it's not a matter of not having money. Thank you for that clarification. Item 9.1, City Commission approval is requested for the mayor's reappointment of Beverly Elliott Morrison to the criminal, what? No, it's just receive and file. You don't vote on receiving files. Receive it, file it. Back to 9.1. City Commission approval is requested for the mayor's reappointment of Beverly Elliott Morrison to the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee for a term of 2 years to expire on July 19, 2025. Ms. Morrison has served over the maximum allowed number of terms, which is 3, and is required that the City Commission confirm her reappointment. I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move reappointment of Beverly Morrison.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Item 9.2, City Commission approval is requested for the mayor's reappointment of Kristen H. Kellogg to the Historic Preservation Board for a term of 3 years to expire on July 18, 2026. Ms. Kellogg has served over the maximum allowed number of terms, 3, and it is required that the City Commission confirm her reappointment. I will entertain a motion to that effect.
Mayor, I move we approve reappointment of Ms. Kellogg.
It's
Second.
been moved, and there is a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 9.3, City Commission approval is requested for the mayor's appointment of Timothy K. Harris to the Downtown Development Authority for a term of 3 years to expire on July 1st, 2026. Mr. Harris will fill the seat of Ms. Cynthia Nally. It is required that the commission confirm this appointment. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of Timothy K. Harris to
Second.
Downtown Development Authority.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. I don't know if Tim's here. I just wanted to say I've known him for many years. He was one of the founders of the Downtown Neighborhood Association, and I know he's been so involved with the DDA for years, so I think he'll be fantastic. But I also wanted to thank Cynthia Nally for all of her work on behalf of the downtown. She has gotten us to a great place, and she will be missed. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. On to the consent calendar, items 10.1 through 10.8. Any questions, comments on consent? 10.1 through 10.8. Hearing none, do we have any cards on consent? Hearing none?
No.
We do have cards on consent. All right, we have cards on 10.5 and 10.7 from Kanta Chestnut. Kanta Chestnut.
On 10.5, as it relates to.
Please state your name for the record, please.
Cantor Chestnut, West Palm Beach, Florida.
And could you speak into the mic?
Cantor Chestnut, 1540 6th Street, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
I'm speaking on 10.5 as it relates to the beautification of the area near Okeechobee Boulevard. The reason I'm speaking on this is because we had an occasion in our community where the city had done some pipe work. The streets stayed tore up for the longest. Once they restored the streets, instead of restoring the medians, they filled it with black tar. I'm saying that that's not acceptable. You're not going to just beautify one part of the city and leave the other one looking like the devil. It's no reason that that median on 7th Street between Windsor Avenue and Australian Avenue should have been filled with black tar. It should have been restored with flowers, trees, or whatever. Just like you want to beautify other parts of the city, we are now demanding that you could treat our communities the same. In addition, we need ADA accessible ramps on all corners in the Roosevelt Estates area. There are some, but there are some that are missing, and therefore we have to go around into people's driveways and come back out and go across the street into other people's driveways when you have a wheelchair or a rolling cart or whatever. So we need those ADA accessible stops at each corner.
Thank you. And you also want to speak on 10.7.
Yes. 10.7 is in reference to the police receiving additional equipment. I'm all for it, whether it's purchased, donated, or whatever, because I feel that our police need the very best that is available to anyone. However, I also feel that they should utilize what they currently have. I put in a records request for an occasion, an event that happened on May the 11th. My request went in on May 31st. Today is June 12th. I have not received my public records request. The card says it's available after 7 days. My request went in 20 days later, and here it is, an additional 12 days, and I still have not received my public records request. And it was all relating to me being given a warning for feeding the homeless in the downtown area. So I'm asking this commission to direct whomever you need to direct to please get me my public records request. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, can you address the public records issue? I don't know why the delay is there. And is Mr. Fana or Jose Luis, can you talk to her about the issues on the street, please? Okay. Yes, Commissioner Fox.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment that we have a $1 million grant request right now for 7th Street between Tamarind and Australian to hopefully beautify that area. I agree that it could look better, but I just wanted to mention it to the resident while she's still here. Thank you.
All right, very good. Any other questions or comments on consent? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move acceptance of the consent calendar items 10.1 through 10.8 as submitted.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 11.1, resolution number 113-23, amending the interlocal agreement between the School Board of Palm Beach County and the City of West Palm Beach regarding Roosevelt Elementary School parking. Mr. Fana.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Armando Fana, Assistant City Administrator. This is a fairly straightforward resolution. It amends an existing agreement we have with the school district that was approved under 38303, which allowed for parking within the city's right-of-way at the elementary school. This particular resolution that we're presenting just amends that agreement with the school district and allows for the installation of a gate that will help to secure that parking area and also the loading and unloading area for the children who are coming in and out of school. There is a requirement by the school district to maintain the fence in the area that we already have under the existing agreement. And you'll see there just kind of where the area is in red, where the fence would go. And there is an example of what it might look like. That's just an example, but that'll be reviewed once they submit for it. And that is it for this item, and recommend approval of it, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Commissioner Lambert?
Just a comment. I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor, to your administration, to this dais for hopefully approving this, but putting this forward, because I know that, there's limited ways in which we can help our schools, and this is definitely one of the ways that we can. And I know that this also helps the neighborhoods to have good parking at the schools, so thank you so much. I'm definitely supportive.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 113-23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 11.2, resolution number 160-23, approving a mediated conditional settlement agreement between the City of West Palm Beach, the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, and the Photographic Center. Mr. Yergin.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners. Again, Doug Yergin, Deputy City Attorney. Again, this is a mediated agreement that grew out of litigation that ensued between the City of West Palm Beach, the CRA, and the Photographic Center. This will bring an end to that, and it will provide $1,090,000 to buy out the remaining of the 15 years of the lease.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Yergin? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 160-23.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second, and I have a comment as well.
It's been moved and seconded. Yes, Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the City Attorney's Office for meeting with us individually. I know you met with me, I presume, with all the other commissioners, and describing this in detail to make sure that we felt comfortable with today's agenda item, but certainly understand that this is still in litigation, and so we are limiting at least I'm limiting my discussion on this today until that's finalized. So thank you for your work on that. Appreciate it.
Any other comments or questions? Commissioner Peduzzi.
And Mayor, I won't say any further comments other than the comments that I made earlier. And I'm just going to stand by those comments. Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 12.1, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5047-23, authorizing a long-term lease and expansion of the Palm Beach Rowing Association, Inc.'s boathouse at Lake Mangonia Park. Ms. Ferriero.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Jennifer Ferriero, Director of Housing and Community Development. This is the second reading of the proposed ordinance. There have been no changes to what was originally presented and approved at the previous City Commission meeting. I'm happy to take any questions in the event that there's been some unresolved questions that you may have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item, Commissioners? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 5047-23.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5047-23, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, approving a long-term lease and expansion of the Palm Beach Rowing Association, Inc.'s boathouse at Mangonia Park, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 12.2, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 5044-23, amending Chapter 94, Article 4, Downtown Master Plan, Section 94-106, general uses with special requirements, and Article 9, permitted uses, uses permitted with extra requirements and special uses, Section 94-273, extra requirements for special uses or permitted uses to modify and clarify special regulations regarding medical marijuana dispensaries and pharmacies.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners and everyone here in the room. My name is Claudia Babin. I'm City Urban Designer in the Planning Division, and I'm bringing you ordinance number 5042-23. that relates, is a city-initiated request for a text amendment to modify the specific regulations for medical marijuana dispensaries and pharmacies. I have a brief background about this issue. Since 2018, medical marijuana dispensaries have been permitted in the city. Since then, 8 of them have been established in the city. On November of last year, the Downtown Development Authority sent a letter to the Mayor and Commission raising some concerns about the medical marijuana dispensaries in the downtown. And on February of this year, there was a work session held to evaluate the existing regulations of these dispensaries. In that workshop, it was also established that pharmacies under the state law will need to be treated the same as dispensaries. And this is related to this section of the Florida statutes where it says that the location of these dispensaries cannot be more restricted for those locations for pharmacies. It was also on the workshop inform the pharmacies, the inventory of pharmacies and medical marijuana dispensaries in the city. We have 42 in the city. 8 of these medical marijuana dispensaries that we have, 4 of them are established in the Clematis Waterfront District. And after your guidance in the workshop and additional research, we are recommending, city staff is recommending to not permitting any new medical marijuana dispensaries or pharmacies into the Clematis Waterfront districts. As we know, the Clematis Street is our entertainment corridor, and concentration of any use might not align with the whole intent of the district, of the sub-district. We also did additional research on other municipalities in Florida and how they were regulating dispensaries. We saw that some are prohibiting any new medical marijuana dispensaries coming into their municipalities. And we also saw that separation distance was another regulations that they added, just like Orlando, Miami-Dade County, and Fort Lauderdale. At first, we thought that for Orlando, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, we thought that they might be treating them the same as pharmacies based on what we are seeing here, and also contacting them to see if this separation requirement was also for pharmacies. And the law department provided this information that relates to when Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami-Dade County adopted these ordinances, which is a prevention that became effective before June 23rd, 2017. So that's the reason why, in a way, they're not treating them as pharmacies, because there was this language that was part of the previous section. We also did a geographical analysis just to see any separation distance coming into these medical marijuana dispensaries. As you can see here in these maps, everything that you are seeing in red is where are permitted right now, which are commercial districts, non-residential districts, and industrial light districts in the city of West Palm. And we have also pointed each pharmacy and medical marijuana dispensary that we have already, and we added a buffer based on the separation distance. So we have a 1 mile, half a mile, and a quarter mile. And as you can see, with 1 mile is basically blocking most of the area of the city, and a quarter mile will be the less restricted. And again, this separation requirement will have to be applied for pharmacies too. So our recommendation is to not permitting them in the Clematis Waterfront District, and also having a half a mile separation distance between them, dispensaries and pharmacies within the downtown. This was also presented to the Downtown Action Committee. Originally, city staff recommended a quarter mile separation distance, but right now we are changing our recommendation to a half a mile, just like the Downtown Action Committee. We also presented this to the Planning Board, and the Planning Board suggested to deny these new regulations for medical marijuana dispensaries and for the pharmacies. Some of the comments that were mentioned in the DAC and the Planning Board, the DAC actually, 2 board members proposed a 1 mile separation distance, but after conversations about how that would impact pharmacies, they reduced that to a half a mile. They also mentioned, or we clarified, that pharmacies that are already established and medical dispensaries will be grandfathered in, will be legal nonconformities in those districts that are already there, like the Clematis Waterfront District. On the planning board, some of the comments that were made were that restrictions proposed are too premature, and they also mentioned that the free market might be able to really level out these many dispensaries coming into the downtown, as they have seen turnover of businesses in the Clematis Street. They were also concerned about these regulations impacting pharmacies, just like compound pharmacies. There are small businesses that are also will be impacted by these regulations. And we're bringing you with different options for you to consider. As we know, this is a policy issue. This is option A to option D, option A being the least restrictive and option D being the most restricted. Option D, the most restricted, will be not permitting them in the whole city. And again, the ones that we already have established will be grandfathered in. And that's it, if you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions? Commissioner Baduzzi? Commissioner Fox?
I think I'm going to take a position that's opposite, essentially, of our planning board. The planning board, my understanding was that they believed to let the free market just determine where these things go. I'm going to suggest that we treat these dispensaries similarly to some of the other neighboring municipalities, such as Palm Beach Gardens and Delray Beach, and completely prohibit them in all of our zoning districts. I don't think they add anything to our city. I think that from what I witnessed personally during Sunfest, I think that it actually attracts even more businesses to our city that don't add anything to the city. I saw multiple mobile dispensary vehicles, vans, that were wrapped and selling on the sides of our streets, downtown, on Clematis. And I'm sure we don't allow it. Maybe they got away with it. They weren't caught. But I don't think it adds anything to the atmosphere that we want to create here in West Palm Beach, and I don't think it's something that we need to be known for.
And just to speak about the mobile units that you saw, we did check with code enforcement, and we don't have anything in our records that said that we're permitted. And code enforcement was not in the event too.
Just clarification, Commissioner, so you don't want any dispensaries anywhere in our city, you're saying?
I think we have 8 already, and I think 8's enough, and they're going to be grandfathered, and they'll probably be here for some time. I think with considering the legislation that's on the horizon, that legislation that's going to potentially allow the open sale at dispensary locations to anyone who's an adult for recreational use is going to be a nightmare for us.
So, and I'll check with legal, if you, because I understood the law was wherever you allowed a pharmacy, you have to, so you're saying we're not going to allow any more pharmacies in the city either?
I think we're allowed to have pharmacies. If it's an outright ban, we could still have pharmacies. We just don't have to have dispensaries. And I was under the same impression as you, is that we had to treat them the same way as pharmacies. But my understanding is now that no, we do not. If we choose to prohibit them in all our zoning districts, it doesn't affect pharmacies at all.
Let me hear from legal on that question.
Nancy Yurchek, Deputy City Attorney. You can completely prohibit the dispensaries. The city decided not to do it. If you allow them, you need to treat them the same as pharmacies.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Fox, you had your...
Thank you. I was going to make similar points. I have heard that we've received almost 1 million, I guess, signatures in order for this to be on the ballot for 2024 in order to legalize marijuana. And if that happens, then any of the medical marijuana dispensaries will also be able to sell marijuana. So I am also supporting the idea of banning medical marijuana dispensaries. I think 8 is enough, as long as pharmacies are not excluded. I was worried about the half-mile separation for the pharmacies, because I think often you drive down the street and you see a CVS and a Walgreens right across from each other, and I don't want to determine what the free market can provide in those situations, but I agree that I think 8 marijuana shops is probably enough for us, and if we grandfather those that are already here, I would be fine with moving forward with banning them.
Or any other, we have Commissioner Ward and then Commissioner Lambert.
I'm of the opposite opinion. Our state voted and allowed this to occur. I think we're going down a slippery slope by completely banning businesses in the area. And frankly, if you look at any type of business, they may be putting forward investment for the first couple years to see if they can withstand the market. And if they don't last, they don't last. If there's not a market, just the same as there's not a market for a liquor store, every single area that is allowed, or every other store that's allowed, businesses go out. We've already seen a change of existing medical marijuana. Licenses haven't been issued to that extent, so now we're even creating more of a monopoly for those who were first in on those licenses, which I think is a problem. I would be for the quarter distance because in particular in my area, there isn't a pharmacy in part of my district right now. And so if we limited it by a half a mile, I think that would really harm my area in particular where there isn't one from coming in. I think a quarter we can work with that as far as pharmacies, but I would not be in support of option D, completely banning a market that our voters said that they wanted in this state.
So for clarification, Commissioner, you would go with option C with the separation distance being a quarter of a mile?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Lambert?
Yeah, I'm really struggling, Commissioner Peduzzi, with your comments and Commissioner Fox. I wasn't aware of what happened at Sunfest, and it sounds like from staff that there was not permits for those vehicles to be providing that, and if they're doing that illegally, then I would hope that we can address that. But I guess some questions that I had, and I doubt that staff knows this off the top of their head, but so we have 8 medical marijuana facilities in the city. How many pharmacies do we have in the city? Do we know?
It will be 42.
And you know, to Commissioner Ward's point, the voters in the state of Florida did vote to have medical marijuana dispensaries and to treat them as pharmacies. And so I'm struggling with us saying that 8 is enough, but I get the points that you made as well. And then also, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head either, do we know how many stores that we permit to sell alcohol in the city?
I do not have that.
I don't believe that I would be in favor of option D at this time. I'm going into this was leaning towards the staff and DAC recommendation, but if it looks like, you know, we're moving towards another option here, I would be open to discussing the quarter-mile separation distance, because I was not familiar with what Commissioner Ward is talking about in her district.
President Warren?
I'm aware that we don't have the exact number of stores that sell alcohol, but do we have an ordinance that restricts the number of stores that can sell alcohol?
We have some regulations, and I'm not going to remember all exactly, but we do allow it in the Clematis Street alcoholic establishments to be only 2 per block, and the storefront also, there's like a maximum they can have in the whole block of a storefront. So we do have special regulations for alcohol establishment. And I'm sure there's more, but I cannot really remember all of them.
Is that citywide or is that just downtown?
It's citywide. So again, the Clematis is particular, but there's also citywide. We have the 2 per block, if I'm not mistaken. There we go.
Angela Van, Planning and Zoning Administrator. Outside of downtown, Commissioner, we used to have distance separation, for the most part, it's 500 feet from residential or from another same type of alcoholic beverage establishment, and or from schools and churches.
500 feet, you said? 500, what's the distance? 500 feet?
Yes, 500 feet outside of downtown.
Okay.
for the remainder of the city.
All right. Commissioner Baduzzi?
Thank you, Mayor. While I recognize the comments made by my colleagues with regard to the Florida voters, you know, accepting the existence of these marijuana dispensaries, I'd also like to hear from our city attorneys with regard to the fact that these dispensaries are still in violation of federal law. Okay, so it's not so clear. You can say that the voters voted for this in the state of Florida, but it is still a violation of federal law. The feds have decided at this point they're not enforcing federal law, is my understanding, but it's still a violation of federal law to have these dispensaries, to sell marijuana, and to purchase marijuana. Those three things are prohibited by federal law. So I think that it's not such a slippery slope as has been suggested by my colleagues, because it's not so clear that this is something that's allowable. You know, we've got a discrepancy between state and federal law.
Which will continue if this constitutional amendment passes, correct? Okay. Commissioner Ward.
I'll add that the Attorney General came out with a distinct comment that said that they would not be pursuing anybody, any state and anybody who actually passed those laws. So I just want to throw that out there, the federal Attorney General. And actually, my original preference, because it came from the residents, would be really only to not permit it in the Clematis Waterfront District and leave the rest of the city alone, because it doesn't seem to be a problem anywhere else in the city that we've heard of, unless other commissioners or the mayor or staff have heard otherwise. To me, this is a problem in that waterfront district. And so if we can solve that problem, because there's a concentration of them in one area, then let's solve that problem. But why reach to other areas that aren't necessarily seeing that problem?
Any other comments? Is there a motion? Commissioner Lambert?
Is there public comment on this, Mayor? There's no public comment?
No, we got one. We got one card. So no other comments from the dais. All right.
I actually may have some more questions, but I just wanted to hear
All right.
public comment as
Commissioner
well.
Fox?
Thank you. I just wanted to ask for clarification if it was possible for us to separate these two decisions and only vote for part of it tonight, or if they have to be together. I don't know if anyone.
Nancy Yurchek, you can vote either way. If you wanted to just, if you wanted to split it and just deal with either the waterfront district and or citywide, I mean, it is the policy that the board wants. So you can give direction and vote it one way, and it'll be changed for second reading.
All right, we have two cards, Rafael Clemente and Sandy Makovich.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, and staff. First of all, I want to thank your staff for an extraordinary amount of work to bring this tonight, and to you all for considering this important issue. The DDA did make the request because we saw a growing number of dispensaries in the Clematis Waterfront District. Many people that we heard from in the business and residential community felt like this was damaging the look and feel and reputation of the downtown corridor. The dispensaries that are here are not bringing crime or blight. They're not a problem per se, but the perception that they bring when they're concentrated in an area certainly changes the nature and character of a neighborhood. Oftentimes, people prefer anonymity for when they're going to purchase or be a customer there. So they frequently enter through the rear of the business anyway. So it's not even an active storefront. In a pedestrian urban zone, having activity on your street is important. Furthermore, as many of you probably have seen, the most recently opened dispensary at Clematis and Olive, our corner of Main and Main, has been required by the state to screen their windows because of state statutes regulating the visibility of cannabis products in a dispensary, which completely changes the nature of that corner in a negative way. As was brought up tonight on the dais, the state looks like it's moving toward recreational use for all legal age adults to purchase medical marijuana. I don't know that that would be a benefit to our district either, having more of them. Yes, it's an entertainment district, but is that really the vibe we want? I think it would be much more difficult to regulate than open container. I couldn't walk out of O'Shea's with a drink in my hand and walk down the street today, and that's something that's obvious and visible, and nonetheless can still be a challenge to enforce. So having a concentration of these types of businesses in the downtown period, let alone the Clematis corridor, I think is something that should be regulated in some way. I think the staff's recommendations are for the downtown are good. Prohibiting the Clematis Waterfront District with a distance requirement outside of that, I think that would go a long way, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandy Makovich?
Sandy Makovich, West Palm Beach. I was born at the wrong time. I remember when this came into Florida, we voted on it. I did not vote. I did not want this to pass because I knew where it was going. I'm just surprised it took this long to get here. If you remember back in the time, the commercials, there were elderly people lying in a bed, dying of cancer, and the only thing that helped them is if they had a joint, if they smoked marijuana, it eased the pain. Commercial after commercial after commercial. And because of these commercials, many friends of mine voted for it, because we had a discussion. Why don't you vote for this, Sandy? I said, you don't know where it's going. Now they're sorry they voted for it, because they see. Now the state will make this legal, and I can go in and buy a 6-pack of Bud, or I can go in and buy 6 joints. I guess that's where it's headed. That's not right. That's not right. You have to worry about drunk drivers. I don't want to have to worry about somebody high. What's next? Cocaine dispensaries? Where does this stop? Common sense, where does this stop? Commissioner Peduzzi, I like and respect your views on this. Thanks for expressing them. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another card from Annie Sestari.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, council people, thank you. My name is Arne Sestari, and I'm actually here to speak on something else, but when this issue came up, I thought it important to give you my view. I also have a home in Massachusetts, and so we were a little bit ahead of the curve. Massachusetts is a little more liberal state, so you folks have followed the same pattern that up there they followed, which was first letting the medical use be allowed and having the facilities for medical use. But that wasn't enough. As you had said, the other resident had said, the proponents of this took it to the next level. And consequently, all of the municipalities were inundated with applications for the dispensaries, which in and of itself presents a problem because you're going to have a lot of folks that know there's a ton of money. I actually have 2 or 3 pretty close friends that have dispensary licenses, and they've literally made millions of dollars within a year or so, multi-millions. But what's happened is, at least up there was a lack of planning and uniformity from community to community. So one community would allow them close, others would allow them spaced out, but when they opened, it was mass hysteria. And so you're talking about putting it in the Clematis district, the numbers of people that showed up, it was overwhelming. They had to go to an appointment-only system. And now, all of these municipalities, because of the developers knowing that there's so much money to be made, they're inundated with application after application after application, just like for package stores. So unless you guys think this through properly, and I saw the alternatives here, you're gonna have another mess on your hands, like we did. And I'm not saying if the will of the voters in this great state, in this great city want to allow marijuana, I'm not here to try to convince you otherwise. I think the will of the voters speak for the masses. But you guys have to review this closely because it's been a mess up there. And I know a lot of people have been hurt by it, and I know a lot of people that have made a lot of money. So whenever there's a lot of money to be made, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of graft, there's a lot of problems. So you're gonna have to really give this a lot of thought and get more input, in my estimation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so last card. Any other comments, questions, commissioners? Commissioner Lambert?
Thank you. Quick question for staff. I don't think you showed us the slide here, but I know we saw it in the past. Of the 8, how many are in the Clematis Waterfront District?
4 of them.
And how many pharmacies do we have in that same area? Just the one, CVS?
CVS.
Okay. I am definitely in favor of limiting and not having them, and that they not be permitted in the waterfront district. I think that what Mr. Clemente said about changing the nature of the downtown, clearly that's exponentially more than we have of pharmacies, and I would be in favor of that. I'd still, I guess, like to reach some kind of consensus here about what we want to do about the second half of this.
Commissioner Ward?
And again, I'm for moving forward with that. I don't even know how the motion could be crafted to limit it, but I'm not ready to put an entire ban on the rest of the city, given the already restrictions that are put in place. If you've got a loan on your property, you're still hard pressed to open up medical marijuana because banks don't usually approve it because they've got federal regulations that they want to follow, even though that's murky. And if you want to get a loan, you're still not really necessarily going to get it if you're a medical marijuana business. So there's these restrictions already that are in place. And again, we're not hearing from people saying that they're being inundated elsewhere. It's just in this close waterfront district. So I don't want to jump the gun and limit it everywhere else when our voters said that they wanted it in this state. And we have vertical integration. It's not like other states. Our state made it a lot more difficult for you to even get a license, and you have to start to finish, seed to sale in this state. It's challenging. It's not like other states have implemented.
Commissioner Baduzzi and then Commissioner Lambert again.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to put it on the record, I was actually for medical marijuana for medical use. For chemotherapy patients that were battling nausea, for people that really need it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It should be regulated like any other medication and be available. What concerns me right now the most, and I probably wouldn't be concerned about it, is the fact that this bill is out there and it's likely going to pass. And I think there's just going to be everyone is going to want to be opening up a dispensary because there's going to be a lot more clientele out there to sell to. And I just think that my understanding is, and I don't have any paperwork or documentation or proof, but just like the gentleman who came up and spoke a little while ago said, is my understanding is those areas that have done this have regretted their decision. I think it's going to be a mess. I think it's just something I just don't think is good for the city, but I'm not against legitimate medical marijuana. But my hunch is, and that's what's allowed now, is medical marijuana. And seeing what I saw during Sunfest, my guess is all those people weren't cancer patients trying to, get over their nausea so that they could, hold their food down. They were buying it for recreational use. They had their medical marijuana card, but it's essentially being used recreationally right now. I think it's only going to increase with this, if this new law gets put into place, and I think we're going to have something occur that we're going to regret. But that's my 2 cents, and we'll see how my colleagues feel about it.
Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you. Commissioner Peduzzi, I don't disagree with you. I do not like bad actors and people who break the law in any of the policies that we set. I guess I'm just struggling with this, and I will say this, is that for the second part, I'm not sure that I'm ready to just say, hey, let's not have any separation distance for the rest of the city, because one of the things that I am concerned about is that once we limit it downtown, will then another area pop up? Like when you plug one hole, then it sprouts somewhere else. And I also brought up the same concern to the city attorneys about this new legislation that's likely to pass about making recreational marijuana legal. A comment that Mr. Green made at the last commission meeting when we talked about this, or at a agenda review, somebody asked about a moratorium while we figured this out. I wonder if we could get a moratorium language ready if the recreational use passes, similar to, I believe we had that in place while we figured out, and correct me if I'm wrong, how we wanted to handle medical marijuana dispensaries. Maybe we could have something like that in place, so if recreation passes, it allows us some time to see how we want to handle that, so that there isn't this windfall of permits that you know, some people think we might have. Just kind of brainstorming some options here.
Well, presumably, even if the referendum passes, there's got to be enacting legislation in Tallahassee. You know, there was a recreational marijuana, I believe, referendum that did pass before, but Tallahassee monkeyed around with it. So, I mean, I say all that to say we'll have time. Even if the referendum passes, I think the enabling legislation has still got to be debated and passed by the legislature. All right, Commissioner Fox and Commissioner Baduzzi again.
Thank you. My question is there any reason we couldn't ban it now and reverse it if, when we see what happens? To me, I think we passed it as a state, but that didn't mean that we said we were going to have one on every corner. To me, we have 8 dispensaries within our city. There are others in municipalities that are close by. You know, there was no guarantee that this was going to be like a 7-Eleven where it's on every corner. So I guess my question is there any reason we couldn't have option D, ban them now, see what's coming ahead? If we make a mistake, we can change it down the road.
Commissioner Baduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my understanding that we have so many medical marijuana dispensaries right now, not because of the current customer base, but because they are betting on this being legalized and they want to be in place and ready to go to sell to the general public. So I think that anything that's reactionary, like having a moratorium ready or language of a moratorium ready, is going to be too late, because I think that with this on the horizon, we're going to see a lot more dispensaries coming into our city. I think it's only a matter of time once word gets out that this new law is likely to be passed. That's what they're banking on. That's what they're looking towards, is being able to sell it to everyone unfettered. And that's what I'm concerned about. I don't think it adds anything to our city. And from what I saw during the last, you know, as I said, Sunfest, I just don't think it adds anything. And the point also was made, I believe that right now we don't allow open containers unless you have a permit. You're not going to be able to regulate someone smoking marijuana walking down the street. And bottom line is, there are days where I'm with my family walking down Clematis Street and we can't get away from the smell. It's everywhere. And I just think that it's going to get a whole lot worse.
All right, well, is there a motion? We're hearing a divergence of views. Is anybody going to put forth the motion to see if we could reach some kind of if not a consensus, at least a majority vote on this issue?
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Mayor, I move that we prohibit dispensaries in all zoning districts within the city of West Palm Beach.
It's been moved, and is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Not hearing any discussion, so I will call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Okay, let's do a hand vote, because I didn't hear that. All right, all those in favor, just hold up your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all those opposed? All right, 2. All right, so the motion carries 3-2. All right.
I believe you need to read the ordinance. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we didn't pass an ordinance, or do we have to revise the ordinance to reflect the will of the body?
Yes, you're voting to prohibit it now throughout the city, if I understood what the motion was. So, which is option D. So we'll need a motion that says that, and the language that says, that it meets the requirements of 9432 and it's supported by the staff report and other factors.
All right, so the first sentence, so we're not approving the ordinance as proposed, correct?
You're not approving the ordinance as proposed, but you're going to, will amend it. So you're going to approve the ordinance as amended to prohibit medical marijuana dispensaries within the city, and then this motion's based on the factual testimony presented, the staff report, the recommendations of the planning board, and the rest of that.
Okay, so the mover of the motion will have to amend the motion, and the second to the motion will also have to approve that amendment. So, Commissioner Benuzzi, you want to amend your motion to reflect what the city attorney
I will
said?
give it my best shot. Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 5044-23 with an amendment prohibiting marijuana dispensaries in all zoning districts within the city of West Palm Beach. Do I have to continue?
Yeah,
From where?
This motion is based on the...
Okay, this motion is based upon the factual testimony presented, the staff report, the recommendations of the planning board and the Downtown Action Committee, and the findings of the proposed amendment complies with all amendment standards found in section 94-32 of the zoning and land development regulations.
Does the seconder of the motion
Second.
accept the amendment?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
all right, so we need to revote, correct? All right, all those in favor of the motion, hold up your hand, make sure. 1, 2, 3, all those opposed, like sign. 2, okay. So the motion passes 3-2. Does that pass legal scrutiny now? Are we good?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item, Commissioners, we're now entering the quasi-judicial portion of the meeting. So I will need you to make your disclosures. We'll start with you, Commissioner Ward.
As to matter 13.1, I have had ex parte communications with the applicant and the representative. I have received written communications in the form of an email. I have not conducted an investigation. I have made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Thank you. Commissioner Lambert.
This is 13.1 and 13.2, is that right?
Yes.
Sorry. Back to me, sorry. As to 13.2, thank you,
13.2 is being,
Commissioner Lambert.
is being continued.
Well, 13.2 is going to be continued, but make your disclosure anyway.
Okay, so I still have to, even though, okay, all right, as to 13.2, I have not had ex parte communications, I have not received written communications, I have not conducted an investigation, I have not made a site visit, I have not received expert opinions. I request that all these disclosures and written communications be made part of the record.
Thank you. Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you. As to 13.1 and 13.2, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, nor have I received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
President Warren.
As to matters 13.1 and 13.2, I have not had ex parte communications, not received written communications, not conducted an investigation, not made a site visit, not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
Commissioner Fox.
As to matters 13.1 and 13.2, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit. I have not received expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made part of the record.
And Commissioner Baduzzi.
As to matters 13.1 and 13.2, I have not had ex parte communications. I have not received written communications. I have not conducted an investigation. I have not made a site visit, nor have I received any expert opinions. I request that these disclosures and all written communications be made a part of the record.
Very good. Madam Clerk, can you swear in all witnesses, please?
Would everyone wishing to speak on items 13.1 and 13.2, please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, very good. Item 13.1, public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5041-23 regarding a future land use map amendment to change the future land use designation of approximately 0.30 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street from multifamily to commercial east. Public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5042-23 regarding a rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately 0.30 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street from multifamily low-density residential to general commercial. Public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 5043-23 regarding a rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately 1.47 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street, 1501 North Dixie Highway, and 1515 North Dixie Highway from general commercial to commercial plan development, and resolution number 116-23 regarding the development regulations and conditions for the Kirksey Commons commercial plan development and granting waiver and variances of the zoning and land development regulations.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. For the record, Kevin DeFrank, Senior Planner with the Development Services Department. As you already stated, this is the second reading for the future land use map amendment and rezoning requests associated with the Kirksey Commons development project proposal. And tonight, you're required to make an action on resolution number 116-23, which establishes the regulations for the proposed plan development.
Are there any changes from first reading?
No changes from the first reading.
All right, very good. Any questions for staff before we call the applicant up? All right, no questions for staff. Mr. Verdon, do you want to?
Good evening. My name is Joe Verdon. I'm with the law firm of Carlton Fields, 525 Okeechobee Boulevard. I'm here tonight to answer any questions you might have. I'm also prepared to do a presentation if you'd like to see it again. But if you are ready for a vote or you have questions, I'm prepared to answer them now.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, then I will, and any discussion internally? Then I will entertain motions.
I move to approve ordinance number 5041-23, a future land use map amendment to change the future land use designation of approximately 0.3 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street from multifamily to commercial east. This motion is based upon the factual testimony presented, the application submitted, the staff report, the recommendation of the planning board, and the findings that the request complies with the provisions of Chapter 163 Florida statute, meets the change assumption standard of future land use policy 1.1.5 of the city's comprehensive plan, and meets the conditions of future land use policy 2.5.3 of the city's comprehensive plan.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5041-23, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida by changing the future land use designation of two parcels located at 424 LA Kirksey Street, approximately 0.30 acres, from multifamily MF to commercial east, CE, declaring the proposed amendment to the future land use map to be consistent with all other elements of the comprehensive plan of the city, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
I move to approve ordinance number 5042-23, a rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately 0.3 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street from multi-family low-density residential to general commercial. This motion is based on the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, and the findings that the request complies with the comprehensive plan and the standards in section 94-32 of the city zoning and land development regulations.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5042-23, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the zoning map of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, by rezoning two parcels located at 424 LA Kirksey Street, approximately 0.30 acres, from multifamily low-density MF14 residential to general commercial, declaring this zoning map amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan of the city, revising the zoning map of the city accordingly, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Ward.
I move to approve ordinance number 5043-23, a rezoning to change the zoning designation of approximately 1.47 acres located at 424 LA Kirksey Street, 1501 North Dixie Highway, and 1515 North Dixie Highway from general commercial to commercial plan development. This motion is based upon the application submitted, the staff report, factual testimony, the recommendation of the planning board, and the findings that the request complies with the comprehensive plan and the standards of sections 94-32 of the city zoning and land development regulations.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 5043-23, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, amending the zoning map of the City of West Palm Beach, Florida, by rezoning four parcels located at 424 LA Kirksey Street, 1501 North Dixie Highway, and 1515 North Dixie Highway, approximately 1.47 acres, from general commercial to commercial plan development to create the Kirksey Commons Commercial Plan Development, providing for the establishment of the development regulations by separate resolution, declaring this zoning map amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan of the city, revising the zoning map of the city accordingly, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Ward.
I move to approve resolution number 116-23, establishing development regulations and conditions for the Kirksey Commons commercial plan development and granting waiver and variances from the zoning and land development regulations.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries
Thank you
unanimously.
very much.
Thank you. Commissioners, item 13.2, the applicant has requested to continue this item to the June 26th City Commission meeting. Could I have a motion to that effect?
Mayor, I move to continue this item to June 26th City Commission meeting.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing no opposition, motion carries unanimously. Okay, now it's time for public comment. We have several cards, so I'm going to read them out, and three at a time, and start making your way toward the podium. Jacqueline Robinson, Arnie Sistari, and Cantor Chestnut.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Robinson. Thank you for your service and thank you for all that you do, because I know it's not easy. And it's so nice to be in this room because I'm born and raised here, and I used to be at the old building. My family business was 70 years on Clematis. My name is Jacqueline Robinson. I live at 108 Gregory Road, West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm a stage 4 metastatic melanoma cancer patient with no cure. So I understand what it's like to go through chemo every day. On last Thursday, I arrived home from chemo and found that 109 Arlington Road, a developer by the name of a contractor by the name of David Bowden of Arlington Construction LLC, had leveled the home on May 8th without any permits, started construction and digging a retaining wall. I have 4 dogs, of which 2 are service animals, and come to find out, my fence was going down to the ground and created a hole for my animals to go through. Upon doing my research, I found out that Mr. Bowden, who we had I gathered all the neighbors together to have a meeting, had said he had the permits. Upon speaking to the building department, he had not. So upon doing my research, lots of complaints. He says he has 30 homes, knows everybody in the city, threatened me. Basically said he had his hand in the pocket of the city, which was, I said to him, well, I'm going to find out about that. But anyway, this retaining wall that's being built around my house, right now there's no permits. It was red tagged. I got the building department to red tag this property. Come to find out, he is a problem, this Mr. Bowden, and come to find out that the building department struggles to go around. He had put up a fake permit box, so the neighbors didn't know about it. There's a very popular pesticide company, which I won't name names, but I'm sure you know who they are that live in my area. You probably know. And they too have been having problems with Mr. Bowden, have retained attorneys, and he has had to seek payment for the damages and the violations that he's created as a developer in our community. So I need your help. I need to be protected. I need my fence not to come down. I paid for that fence. He's argued it. He said it was his, which was so funny because after I did all the research and presented it to the police department came. I had to call Mr. Chris Smigel, by the way, is the best. He took it. He does welfare checks on me. Anyway, I need your help. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Speak to Mr. Fana, Assistant City Administrator there. He's holding up his hand. Give him the details. And we'll see what we could do internally. You may have a civil action, which means you need to get your attorney to go against this particular person, but you can at least see what we can do as a city. Okay, just go talk to him now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Arnie Sestari.
Hi, again, Arnie Sestari, 114 Gregory Road. I want to second everything that Jackie said. Got a gentleman there. He's conducting unlawful activities. In my estimation, I'm an attorney. He cut trees down, wasn't permitted, exposed us to all of the, it was like being at 9/11 for 3 days. And I was in New York after 9/11. I was in my house, I was coughing. I had previously had respiratory issues. My doors were shut. Everything was being ingested into my air conditioner. He didn't have any permitting for taking the house down. I've seen houses taken down south of Southern. They have hoses going all the time. There should have been no matter in the air. My pool was, I had to clean the pool 10 times in a few hours. I didn't want to go outside. Shouldn't have ever been allowed to have happen. Took the trees down. If I cut an olive tree down, I'm going to get fined. He took all the trees down, including my neighbor's trees, with no notice. Took down fences, no notice, no permitting. Something has to be done. I know there's a lot of building going on south of Southern, and it's hard for the building department to oversee all this, but this isn't right. And I know this is probably going to end up in a civil matter, but let's see the city do something. And item 2, the crime's bad down there. There's no police presence. My most recent home that I bought, put cameras up within a week of moving there. I put the industrial grade cameras up, caught people going through the neighborhood, stealing my neighbor's cars, trying to get into all the cars. It's almost a few times a week. There's no nightly presence of the police down in that neighborhood. And when I've talked to police, quite frankly, they said they're short on staff. That's not acceptable. I'm paying a lot in taxes for my homes there, and I think the city has to step up and do something about the crime. Those guys that are coming down there know the pickings are good, and there's no police presence, so they're going to keep it up. Thanks you.
You can also speak to Mr. Fana about both issues, the gentleman in the back with the tie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No.
May I speak?
No, did you fill out a card?
Yes.
Well, you'll have to wait till I call. I don't have you. What's your name, sir?
My name is Jorma Huttunen.
Don't speak it. I don't have a card from him.
I think my card is probably under my
Well, then you need to bring it up here so I could call you in time. We have some other people that are in front of you. Cantor Chestnut.
Good afternoon. Good evening again. I wanted to address you this evening in reference to my concerns last council meeting. First of all, I want to thank you for your suggestions. I have contacted the city. I do have an appointment on Wednesday to see about the services for the homeless. I have a concern about what I do as a person who serves the homeless. I know that you feel that it's a disservice to fill their stomachs while you peck away at getting them services, but pecking away, they still need to eat. And I plan to continue to serve, but I'm going to serve within the confines of your ordinance. So in order to make sure that everybody's on the same page, I will notify the police officers when I come out. I will have them count my plates to make sure that they know that I'm within the limits of the ordinance. I'm not an event. I'm not at any one spot more than 20 minutes, and that's when I have 12, 14 people. At most, it's usually 5, 6, 10. These people are hungry. They are already in a situation where some who go to work, they come back. The city has gone through and thrown away their belongings. When you see a bag sitting on the side, they hide their things in the bushes trying to go and do what they need to do. But when they come back, Public Works has come and thrown everything away. So they have to start over and over and over. And as a result, what happens is, in the meantime, while we're waiting for them to get services, they still have some desires. They still have a need to eat. And I know that they need other things. I know they need mental health services. I know they need housing. I can't provide that, but what I can provide, I will provide. And I'm going to do it within the constraints of the ordinance of the city of West Palm Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I got 3 other cards here. Rick Rose, Sitima Fowler, and Sandy Makovich. We'll get to you, sir, but we got to do it in order.
Good evening. I'm Rick Rose. I live at 600 South Dixie Highway in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm speaking tonight regarding the special commission meeting last Monday when the commission voted to enter negotiations for a second marina on the downtown waterfront. I have a few questions and comments for our city commissioners, but first, for the benefit of our viewers, I'd like to remind the commissioners that it is your responsibility to protect the interests of city residents. The mayor's office and the city administration gets requests to push development all the time, all kinds of great requests. But it's your job to draw the line when the proposal is not a good deal for the residents. But without discussing the merits of the proposal, here are my questions. Number 1, on what grounds did you approve the city's request to invest resources to explore feasibility to add an additional marina on the downtown waterfront when nobody from the citizenry requested such a marina and no public input was sought after you received the unsolicited proposal for the new marina back in June of 2021? During the city commission meeting last week, the city attorney misled the commission in suggesting that the public had the opportunity to provide comments during your August 9th, 2021 meeting. I watched the meeting, and on the agenda, this agenda item was on the consent calendar. There was no opportunity whatsoever for public input. So you have done this on your own without any public support or input. So, number 2, what would the adjacent property owners and city residents get in return for sacrificing a major portion of this important public amenity? The logical answer might be rent revenue, but the city would get that for developing any land, any public land. So there's no win here for residents or for adjacent property owners whose most important amenity is the public waterfront with unobstructed water views to Palm Beach. The downtown waterfront is the downtown's main park. It's our main public amenity for downtown residents and visitors alike, just like South Olive Park is for Southwest Palm Beach, Gaines Park is for that neighborhood, Howard Park is for Flamingo Park, Curry Park, et cetera, et cetera. How do you think those residents would feel if the city entered negotiations to develop those amenities without asking them first? I think you know the answer to that question. Commissioners, please do your job and correct the situation. Move to table this proposal until you have sought public input to learn whether residents are willing to give up their most important public amenity for 100 years as a favor for the Palm Beach Boat Show. It was misleading for City Hall to imply to the press that the boat show might move somewhere else if you don't build more docks for them. Our proximity to Palm Beach, as well as the size of the waterfront, cannot be matched anywhere else in Palm Beach County, and it's ludicrous to suggest otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Satima Fowler.
It took me a while. I sprained my ankle. Thank you, Mayor James and Commissioners, for this opportunity. My name is Satima Fowler from 600 South Dixie Highway, and I stand before you today not as a downtown resident. I'm here to express my views as a private citizen, not as the president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. However, I want to acknowledge that many residents have also reached out to me, sharing their concerns about the new city marina project. It came as quite a surprise to me that such a significant project would be considered and a vendor chosen without any opportunity for public input. The fact that the city has proceeded with the project and vendor selection, undoubtedly with more information than what I have, raises even more questions. Fear and speculation often arise from lack of information, and it is for this reason that I question why the public is being left out of the discussion. Our downtown waterfront is undeniably our most prized possession, a place where locals and visitors alike can come together to enjoy its natural beauty. When I go for a walk along the waterfront, my intention is to revel in the serenity of the water rather than focusing on boats. For many of us, the waterfront seems to end where the Palm Harbor Marina begins. At that point, it no longer feels like our waterfront, which is disheartening. The proposal to build a marina raises concerns about further diminishing our already limited views. It will restrict the openness and natural beauty that we hold dear. Our waterfront holds immense significance as a symbol of a harmonious blend between nature and urban life. The waterfront reminds us of the importance of preserving the shared space and the essence of our unique downtown. While I understand that there may be significant revenue gains associated with the marina, I'm confident that if we put our heads together, we can explore alternative avenues to recoup that revenue. By engaging the public, we can collectively brainstorm and find creative solutions that preserve the integrity of our downtown waterfront while also addressing financial considerations. I implore you, Mr. Mayor and City Commissioner, to demonstrate your commitment to the well-being and desires of your constituents. Please engage with us, listen to our concerns, and ensure that the public is an integral part of the ongoing discussion. Let us come together as a community and explore all possible alternatives to achieve our shared goals while protecting the essence of our waterfront. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Sandy Makovich.
Sandy Mitchevich, West Palm Beach. Ms. Johnson, thank you for clarifying the fact that the money is in the budget for the Internal Auditor's Department. Appreciate knowing that. I also know that the city of West Palm Beach has such a poor reputation on how they treat the employees. I understand how it's hard to get people to come in and apply for a job and tougher to keep them. The homeless population. At the last meeting, I invited you all down to the feeding of the homeless on Clematis Street because I wanted to put a face to the name homeless. Okay? You were all invited. Of course, nobody showed. I tell you who did show last Saturday night was the West Palm Beach Police. And as soon as the feeding was over, they started packing up. That's when the police came. The cop was very respectful. She was very professional. bottom line is somebody was going to show identification or we were going to jail for feeding the homeless without a permit, okay? The cops have it bad enough, not only in West Palm Beach, throughout the country. They're resigning by the thousands. They're under a constant microscope. When you pass that on feeding the homeless, were you aware of the can of beans you were opening? This is not going to go away. This is not going to go away. It's going to continue. I published a story today on it. That's the best I can do. That's the most I can do, is bring it to people's attention, okay? But thank God there are people out there that read the story. And someone contacted me, thanked me for the story, and they're sending it up to Washington, D.C. There's organizations up there that do nothing but help the homeless. I will not allow you to demonize them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Julia P. Boyd.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Julia P. Boyd, and I am a lifelong resident here. I was born here and reared here. My concern is I'm a homeowner in the Lake Avenue Addition plat. I live on 11th Street, and I live in between Carver Avenue and the formerly the Railroad Avenue. If I leave my home to go towards 7th Street, there are potholes. I mean massive potholes. If I turn right on 7th Street and Australia, there are constant leaks in the street, and there are potholes that could normally tear up your car. If I make a left turn on 7th Street, Cameron has been closed off for just about 2 years. It was a partial closing. I passed there on my way to the meeting today. You cannot turn south on 7th and Cameron. What I'm asking is, because I was promised by the city engineer at a previous meeting over in Gaines Park, that someone would come out and assess the streets. About 3 years ago, there were 11 leaks on 11th Street. 11. I called in every one of them, and I'd like to have some type of resolution to this. On 7th and Cameron, on 7th and Australia, mark my words, there's going to be a catastrophic disaster if it's not taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could see the gentleman back in the tie, Assistant City Administrator Jose Luis, he'll talk to you and get the pertinent information. Yorma Huntington? Now, you know you checked the box saying you don't want to speak, but if you want to speak, go ahead.
Well, can I speak anyway?
Yes, absolutely.
No?
Yes, you can speak.
Yes, my name is Jorma Huttunen. I live on 115 Arlington Place, west of that property that was being built. And I'm very concerned about if all that building is done by the permits. And I'm wondering if this property should have a protective fence all the way around to protect us neighbors so that the dust and debris doesn't fly all over. That's all my concern. I've been in this house since 1995. I have long-term residence in West Palm Beach, and I really hope that the building department checks on this building. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I believe there's Assistant City Administrator still out there you could also talk to about this. Okay, now we will turn to comments from the dais, and we'll start with you, President Warren.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to advise the community of several upcoming events. And June 19th is Juneteenth, and there's a Juneteenth Community Day at the Norton on June 17th, which is Saturday, at 12 p.m. There will also be a third annual Juneteenth Unity times Black Excellence Festival hosted by the county on June 17th at 3 p.m., and that will take place at the Meyer Amphitheater. June 19th is also World Sickle Cell Day. It is internationally known as World Sickle Cell Day, and that was by design. That World Sickle Cell Day is celebrated on Juneteenth, and there will be a Juneteenth celebration hosted by the Sickle Cell Foundation in Wellington at the Wellington Amphitheater, and it is free and open to the public from 4 to 8 p.m. again at the Wellington Amphitheater. June is also Men's Health Month, so I encourage men to go out and receive all of the testing, do all of your exams, do everything that is necessary for you to have your best quality of life. And I would like to wish a very happy Father's Day to all of my colleagues here on the dais, as well as all of the fathers in the great city of West Palm Beach. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to say I was very happy to join you and Congresswoman Frankel and many of my colleagues here last week to hear that we have been awarded a federal grant to improve safety at the crossing serving the FEC and Brightline trains. So special thank you to our staff who went out of their way to apply for those grants and just continued to keep rail safety as a priority. I wanted to tell everyone I had a chance last week to ride in one of our new fixed route vans, and they're very comfortable, air-conditioned, very friendly drivers. I would highly recommend if you're downtown needing to get around in the summer. It's a very convenient way to get around. We picked up several passengers. They also have a wheelchair lift in the back if anyone needs to utilize that. So I just want to continue to remind everyone we have this new service, and the additional on-demand service will start on July 1st. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Lambert.
Thank you. I don't know if the residents who spoke are still within earshot, but I wanted to thank them for speaking up and encourage any residents who, believe that there's something going on without a permit, that they report it so that we can look into it. We do appreciate knowing when, those types of things are going on in the city so that we can remedy them. And to his comments about break-ins, I want to assure him and the other residents of the district that the police are aware of those incidences when they happen, and I encourage you to keep reporting them. We do have a police chiefs meeting on July 19th at the Science Museum. I believe they start at 6 o'clock. And I encourage you to attend. We have great, robust discussions with our police chief and the other assistant chiefs who are there, talking about things that we can do as residents to help prevent these crimes, and then areas where we think that crimes might be happening that we would like the attention of the police a little bit more. And then also, I just wanted to thank the administration and my colleagues for recognizing Pride Month. I think that West Palm Beach has done a significant job of recognizing the LGBTQ community, supporting organizations like Compass and HRC PBC. I know that my husband and I have participated for many years in what's called the Smart Ride, which is a 165-mile bike ride from Miami to Key West to raise awareness for HIV and AIDS and for organizations like Compass. And I can tell you, the camaraderie of the people who are there to support these organizations, this effort, is one that I've never experienced in all of my years of volunteering. And I would encourage folks who might not be as familiar with LGBTQ organizations that to use this month as an inspiration to do so. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Peduzzi.
Thank you, Mayor, and wanted to also wish everyone a happy Pride Month. And I also look forward to celebrating the Sickle Cell Foundation Juneteenth celebration in Wellington with you, Commissioner Warren. And happy Father's Day to everyone. Thank you.
Commissioner Ward.
Thank you. And I wanted to say our Pride event that I went to last weekend was fantastic, and everyone was so happy. I was with a bunch of different representatives from the area, and it was just a fun experience, and I was happy to participate. And then this past Friday, I was with our police officers at a couple different events. One was a community event at Pleasant City Community Center with our some of our youth in the summer program, discussing interactions with police and how to better be part of the community and working with each other on our communications, and so that we can build better communication between the residents and our children and our police officers. And then later that night at the Slam event, where there was just so many children playing basketball better than I ever have, and all the cops out. So thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to be there late at night, to all of our officers who were there, because I think it was a wonderful event. And there's a lot that is happening this week as well. Tomorrow at the Coleman Park Community Garden at 11 o'clock, they are doing the grill in the garden. And on Thursday, our Office of Sustainability will be doing a tree giveaway in Coleman Park from 2 to 4. And then our police meeting is also, I skipped a day, on Wednesday at Gaines Park at 6:30 at the usual time. And so I hope to see everybody at those events. Thank you.
Thank you. A few things. Pleased to share that we held the NORA groundbreaking on May 31st. NORA is a visionary mixed-use district that will redefine our cityscape. This monumental project is set to breathe new life into former industrial buildings on North Railroad Avenue, demonstrating our commitment to adaptive reuse and sustainable development. On Monday, June 5th, the City of West Palm Beach started its new transit pilot program, where we introduced new routes, new vehicles, and a Phase 2 expansion that will improve mobility equity for all residents of West Palm Beach. The first phase of the pilot program will run for 6 months, and in Phase 2 of the pilot will begin in the fourth quarter 2024, and we'll expand the pilot program into more neighborhoods. The City of West Palm Beach is pleased to announce that its new online planning and permitting system, the Enterprise Permitting and Licensing System, otherwise known as EPL, is coming soon, launching on June 26. This new web-based portal will transform the traditional in-person processes into efficient and user-friendly online system. With the implementation of EPL, residents and their agents will have the convenience and flexibility to apply for permits, manage plan approvals, and oversee permitting processes from the comfort of their homes or offices. The West Palm Beach Green Market has again been nominated as a USA Today Best Farmers Market. The publication's Reader Choice Poll is a nationwide contest to determine the 10 best markets in the country. The City of West Palm Beach's market has taken the top prize for the last 2 consecutive years. And let's see if we can make it 3 in a row. Fans and friends of the Green Market can vote once daily through Monday, July 3rd, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. In celebration of the recognition, the city will host 3 pop-up mini markets at Clematis by Night in June. One on this Thursday, June 15th, Thursday, June 22nd, and Thursday, June 29th. The markets will run from 6 to 9 p.m. during the weekly live music series and include a variety of favorites and new vendors. The participating vendors will be listed on the Clematis by Night webpage. And as Commissioner Ward mentioned, on tomorrow from 11 to noon, there will be a Garden Day, Grill in the Garden at the Coleman Park Community Garden at 1116 21st Street. This event is hosted by the City of West Palm Beach Department of Housing and Community Development, the West Palm Beach Police Department, and Florida Agricultural Mechanical University Cooperative Extension Office, and all are welcome. Just a reminder, as a couple of the commissioners have said, Father's Day is Sunday, June 18th, and a day to celebrate the special bond between fathers and their children and the profound impact fathers have on shaping lives. Being the mayor of this vibrant city is an honor, but being a father is one of the most rewarding roles of my life. Cheers to all the fathers, stepfathers, and father figures making a difference, leaving a legacy of love and strength. And has been mentioned before, Juneteenth is Monday, June 19, 2023. Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration marking the end of slavery in the United States. It is also known as Freedom Day and a day to celebrate, lift each other up, and reflect. And City Hall and Mandel Public Library will be closed on Monday, June 19th. That's all I have. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the great city of West Palm Beach. Good night. This meeting is adjourned.